Elden Ring is one of the most difficult games you can play right now. A lot of players around the world couldn't finish it because of its high difficulty. Part of the difficulty of the game is its leaders, which is a very important element in your progress in the game and your feeling of accomplishment. And in this video, I will share with you the 10 most difficult bosses to face in Elden Ring. But before we start, there are 3 important points you need to know. First, all the bosses are arranged based on my personal preference and experience with them. And as you know, the difficulty of the bosses varies from person to person and from skill level to skill level. Second, this list will show you bosses from various areas of the game. Let's get started. However, all the leaders of the last region were excluded in order to avoid the fire. Thirdly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I know this has nothing to do with the top 10 that we're doing here, but because honestly, I feel like I'm stepping out of the top 10 because I feel like I'm harder than all the leaders of Elden Ring, honestly. So subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't become one of the 40% who are watching the channel without subscribing. I see you one by one. Anyway, let's start with our list. In the 10th place, Margaret the Fell Omen. This leader in itself is not difficult. This fight is a traditional search. You can get through it in all ways. I mean, anyone who finishes Elden Ring is a winner. It's impossible to rank them among the top 20. So what about the top 10? But the real mark its difficulty lies in the fact that it's the first boss you meet. You're still new, you're inexperienced, you're still a kid, you know. You have a new sword, and maybe you're not even developed, and the armor doesn't even protect you. Who put these foolish ambitions to rest? Margaret, who is one of the best leaders, but also one of the hardest. In the 9th place, Black Knife Assassin, or the Jew, as I call him, because he loves to kill. There are many versions of Black Knife Assassin, some of them in the catacombs, and some of them in the Atlas Plateau area. But the one that confuses me is the one in the Sage Cave in Loretta, and the one who has the ability to hide. Oh my god, what? A disgusting fight. There is no leader in this game that excites me more than him. You destroy him, and he disappears. And oh man, you have a slide effect to see his feet move on the water. And the moment you discover his location, you find him coming to you and hitting you from behind. Oh man, what a leader and what an exciter. This is not only that he is very fast and has a high ability to adapt, you make it very difficult even for him to see with the eye. So what if he is not being seen? In 8th place, Smaug, Lord of Blood, one of the most shocking leaders I've ever seen. I didn't expect such a great leader to be hiding under the ground in a secret place. Smaug is a crazy leader, honestly. His moves are diverse. His hits are strong. He has a bloodless punch. What do I call this move? I call it the blood-sucking move. Literally, all the flasks I've gone on this move, or half of it almost. And as soon as this move ends, we enter the 2nd phase. And the one who is crazy about it, he starts flying and his moves get faster and stronger and he gets more damage. This is other than filling his blood, of course, and making him feel like all this tiredness I'm going to the void. He took my blood, God forbid. What? No, and on top of all that, he does a blood loss build up, which is the other one that you have to be very careful to avoid, because every hit not only reduces your blood, but also increases the number of blood loss that he might get. In the 7th place, Malekith, the Black Blade. Wow, what a leader. Malekith's fighting style is amazing. Weird. The first time you enter his room, you'll see a fat guy like this. His moves are very traditional, and usually you've seen him before. But as soon as the 2nd phase of the fight starts, this monster suddenly gains a high level of flexibility and starts jumping like a worm from place to place. And he does moves, oh man, that are not normal with his speed and speed. The horror that comes with it. This leader is called the leader of the gangs, because he's playing with your gangs. And really, the more your town was bigger, the more difficult the fight was. Meaning, if your weapon was heavy, you'd sit here and move it to perform the blow. So most likely, this leader will wipe the blood off your face without you being able to fight. And between you and me, Malekith made me appreciate the meme a lot, or the summon in general, because without this guy, maybe I would have died by now. In the 6th place, Commander Niall, one of the worst game leaders, honestly. Do you know what I call him? I'll call it the buzzer, because as soon as you enter it, it will summon terror, which are very strong and difficult moves. This is the worst kind of enemies it faces. What makes Commander Niall difficult is that you basically can't reach him. You can't reach him, you can only hit him. It's like you're in the middle of nowhere and you're hanging out with your friend, or someone is online with you randomly, or anything. You know, do you want it like that? Do you want it to be scary? Come, I give you a scary one too. Now, there's this guy named Commander O'Neill. He's in the Killed area. He's almost harder than him, and he's in the middle of nowhere, and there's also Scarlet Rod, and I don't know what else. But that guy isn't that important. I mean, you can skip him and go. His quests aren't that important, to be honest. Unlike Niall, if you want to get the platinum, you have to kill him. In the 5th place, Dragon Lord Placidux. And oh my god, this leader. It's not normal how awesome, fun, and legendary he is. The difficulty of this leader is in everything. Literally, he has lightning strikes, which remove a very respectable number from your blood. He has fire oil, which removes a lot, and on top of that, it drops you to the ground. And the thing that pisses me off the most about the leader's moves is when he drops you on the ground and you sit for a minute, maybe a minute. He doesn't have a lot of direct physical hits, but when he hits, he's very strong. For example, he has a move that he does in the middle of the fight. He comes out of the ring, and he comes with this one that you can't tell him. He comes at you in BOOM. He hits you, he brings you to your ground, no matter how much blood you have. I'm the 4th place.
I am Melania, Blade of Mikola.
Yes, nice to meet you, my dear sister. Melania is one of the hardest bosses I've faced in this studio, but at the same time, one of the coolest and most enjoyable. Her fight is very fun and designed in an amazing way. It's more of a fight for your reward, but it's more of a fight to punish you to the point of psychological destruction. Melania, when you hit her, she gets a lot of damage, but she has a special ability that brings depression, which is the ability to recover her blood. Can you imagine? We will be able to do it without taking a drop of blood. So, with every blow you take with the sword, you will take a drop of blood. No matter where the blow was, whether it was in you, or with your shield, or even with the spear that you have, which may sometimes have a nightmare because it will help instead of helping. Melania is very difficult. So even though in the first stage you don't get attacked a lot, and you wait until you get close and execute your move, but when you get close, oh man, it's the same, it's amazing. He has a move where he cuts shawarma. If you escape from it, you're the best player in Elden Ring. Without exaggeration. But if you don't escape from it, dear viewer, and this is probably what's going to happen, so take this phrase that will make you hate your life from behind it. Now, in the 2nd phase, it gets easier, especially if you're always close to it and you don't give it a chance. But the problem of the 2nd phase is that literally one mistake will bring you to the ground. One mistake and GG, you monster. You didn't make it. God bless you. This is other than you won't get there, unless you're 1,000 or so. 3 hardest bosses for me in Elden Ring, and I'm sure my choices will shock you. So let's go like this to lighten the shock. Let me explain something to you quickly. I personally can't play against any leader who can summon a horse to fight him, because most of these types of bosses have a very large area, and their movements are very fast and overpowering. This is a common factor among all the leaders who can summon a horse against them. In the 3rd place, Draconic Tree Sentinel, the most trashed leader in this game, and the most broken leader. And the worst leader. Teacher, whatever negative words you want, put them in Draconic Tree Sentinel and I'll forgive you. The leader is stupid, his moves are illogical. One of the worst I've ever seen in the ideas of the leaders. He has 2 phases. The first one is his normal moves, but they are very strong, especially when he does spam to hit the fire. That complicated me. As for the 2nd phase, it starts to be rude. When he hits lightning strikes, which I have never seen anything more irritating than in this game. My hit range is very large. Another blow makes a wave of lightning, which you don't even know how to calm it down. And there's another blow when he raises his hand up like this, and it goes down. You don't even know what's going on. You hit things on the ground, and it hits you however you are. This move, guys, I defeated the leader, and I don't even know how to calm it down. Because on a horse, it kills you directly. And if you're on your feet, it takes 80% of your blood. I mean, if you weren't paralyzed, God have mercy on you. His face literally ruined my mood and made me feel like the world shut down in front of me with this game. Even though I tried a lot of different ways and different countries and different levels with him, but it got complicated. I'm breathing right now and I'm talking about him. Look, even when I beat him, I don't know what happened. Like at the last quarter of his blood, there was a glitch and he stopped. He wasn't moving. I started hitting him and he wasn't moving. He wasn't doing any reaction. I mean, the poor guy looked at me and said, "Come here, kill me and end the game while you're still here." In the 2nd place, Fire Giant. If the previous leader was broken, then the Fire Giant is the master of the broken. It's a silly fight, honestly. You don't know where the fun is. His moves in the first phase are normal, but there's no clear logic. Suddenly, you find a duck on the ground like this, and he starts to wobble, and you want to follow him. Suddenly, he gives you the fire move, which follows you and unites you and my brother. I don't understand this move. When he does it to you, you don't know what to do. Get closer to him, or run away from the fire. You don't know what to do. Or get closer to the fire and get away from it quickly before it hits you. You don't know what you're doing. And I haven't talked about how the camera breaks down against the leader yet, and how he makes movements behind each other in an illogical way. It could kill you, and you don't even know what happened. Like suddenly you find yourself, you're dead. And the damage is massive. I mean, hitting the sword alone is like, you'll end up like this with no one to cut his blood at all. I mean, honestly, I don't know what's the idea behind this second phase. One time, I hit him without even touching him. Can you imagine the creativity? And oh my god, the second phase started, and the illogical moves started to come out, and I ate the dogs from him until I died without even touching him. You know what? He replied to me directly. You want to finish the first phase without touching me? I'll bring you the second phase. Goodbye. In the first place, and the most difficult leader I faced in Elden Ring is, of course, Starscourge Raiden. Some people might look at me and say, no, you're kidding. Raiden, you knew. If not, he's the easiest leader in the game. Yes, he can be easy AFT, or the update, but when I face him, it was in the review version, before they made him a nerf. And literally, even though he's the best leader I've ever faced in a game, he's also the most difficult. His moves are crazy and varied in an unimaginable way. And even though he's huge, he's agile, fast, and doesn't let anyone get in his way. Actually, I can't mention a difficult stage or a difficult move because all his hits are hard and strong. When he hits you with attractive hits, when he screams and drags the enemies around him, when he does the following swords hits, when he walks like this with his sword on the ground and TKH, he hits the teacher and removes everything around him. And not only does he hit you, he removes everything around him. When he comes out of the map like this in the middle of the face and he comes down on you with an explosive spear, he removes you from one shot and on a very high range. Speaking of one shot, this is not the only move he does, but he has another dirty move that killed me more than once, which is the 4 rocks he throws around him, and then he hits them all on you. One hit from any rock in them, he'll be back to the lobby. And how can we forget the hell of reaching this leader in the first place? From the moment the fight starts, he starts snatching you from a distance and destroying his house on the edge of the fence, man. Don't laugh at me, guys, but there are about 5 or 6 attempts. I died before I even got to him. This is the most dominant player in the game, diverse in movements. Dude, he has a respectable formation of movements fitting in and so on. Do you agree with me on the list or not? Like the video if you liked it and subscribe to the channel for more videos about games. Take a look around the channel if you want to know more about me and the stuff I post. And I'll see you, God willing, Ben Braham from Games Reviews by Simo is with you.